Hi guys, welcome to lecture number 12 of our AI agents playlist, and it's going exceptionally well. And today we'll be talking about Langgraph specifically in terms of agents with memory. So guys, basic notion that we'd be covering today is how to incorporate memory in Langgraph. And guys, this is easy. This is not very difficult, and we'll be covering an interesting use case as well, which you can build in your organization or any startup which you are dealing with or planning to do anything of your own, build any amazing project. So this use case is exceptionally important because guys, whenever you're trying to build a chatbot, right, the most basic feature is memory, and nowadays memory has transformed a lot. We'll cover about that as well in this playlist, but to start with, the most basic feature is memory, right? So let's say if the user is asking what is 2 plus 2, so it's 4, right? So maybe your chat model is, sorry, yeah, maybe your chat model is able to answer that. But now when the user is saying add 3 to it, so basically you should have the system such that this it gets attributed to 4. So this is basic chat history guys, and we'll be implementing it from code wise. It is not at all difficult because the way a good thing about Langgraph is that you just need to implement one thread and config it and then reuse it every time, so it's not a difficult deal. But yeah, we'll walk through that as well. But what is the use case that we are solving today? So guys, we'll be creating a customer support agent. Okay, now that's not gonna be super difficult to code, but yeah, let's just see what are we going to do. So let's just move to the code guys. Slowly you'll understand everything. So let's just move to lecture number 12, and here we are. So guys, first of all, we've been doing this step multiple times in all lecture. We just need to set up the LLM. The first line is importing OS. Then we are essentially having .env in order to read API secrets from our env file. Then we are just setting that up. Then we are importing our Gemini model from LangChain and then just setting it up. That's pretty much it we've been doing. You can do it with any LLM which supports tool calling and is available in LangChain as well. So I think most of them are, but yeah, just consider it. Now guys, first of all, we need to define tools, right? So let's just move to the board for one sec to give you quickly. So here guys, what are tools? Tools are nothing, just tools are nodes. And what are nodes? These are nothing guys, these are units of work. So my definition is that in simple terms, you have Python functions. Okay, so Python functions, you've been writing Python functions from a lot of time, and when they perform a unit of work, they are essentially nothing but tool. That's it guys, this is the basic and most important definition that you need to remember. Now let's move down. So you've been creating a database. Okay, this is a very simple database. This is a tickets database. See it is of the type list, and inside the list you have multiple iterable items, and each one of them is a dictionary. Now if I'm going to run this code, we'll be able to see that you get this one Aditya, an email and stuff. Okay, so you just need to understand this is a database. Okay, in your organization or in real life you'll have a real-time database, but for the time being you can consider this as your underlining database. It's a simple list that has a nested dictionary, and each of them is iterable, and we are iterating. So this is the ID of the ticket. So this is some kind of ticketing system, right? Some kind of customer support typical problem statement. We have ID, we have name, we have email, what is the phone number of the user, what is the status of the ticket, and what is the comments on the ticket. Simple. Now guys, we are defining a tool. Now what this tool is going to get, it's going to take the ID and it's going to get me the status. So for I in ticket, if ID is equal to ID, return I status. So guys, very simple function. I've been telling you across this course, you just need to write Python functions. They are your nodes, they are your tools. They are going to be doing some unit of work. Here what are they doing? They're going to go inside this a list. They're going to iterate over each dictionary, just figure out stuff that as and when ID is going to equal to ID, it's going to return status. And the other thing is even simpler, guys. It's simple. You just need to get the comments. So if you would see that what are the comments on the tickets, right? If the ticket has been closed, the team is working on it and stuff. So that's pretty much it. So get status and get comments. Let's just try to run this. That's pretty much it. Simple. To basic Python functions, always try to make sure that you've mentioned what is the input type of the parameter that's going to be going here, and a simple docstring to validate the abstract nature of agents which we are building using Langsmith. So that's pretty much it, guys. Not difficult till now. So these are our tools. So we have step 2 was essentially defining the tools. So we have completed that. So we have set up the LLM. We have set up the tools as well. Now let's move to step 3. Now step 3 has been we're doing this from the last 4 lectures, I believe. We need to set a system message, guys. It's not very difficult. You just need to import LangChain core system messages. I've been talking about messages a lot. So essentially when it comes to LangChain, we are mainly dealing with 4 types of messages. One is human message, which is what user is pinging. Then we have AI message, which our LLM is going to respond. Then we have tool message, and the last message that we have, guys, is simple. It's so human is done, AI is done, tool is done, so system message is left. Okay, so these are the 4 aspects that you need to know when we are dealing with LangChain, and we'll be setting up the system message. So let's just try to read the system message. You are at a call center who is responsible for handling customer tickets. You have the ability to get the status and comment of the ticket. Ask the user for ID of the ticket. Very important, guys, because using that ID you're going to hit those functions and get the results. Now you're defining an assistant node. Now this is the function that's going to do the main work with you. So you have LLM with tools, and you're just invoking your sys message along with state message. So I've been talking about this, guys, a lot. So your state is essentially of the type message state, and message state is essentially given to you by Langgraph. I've been telling you that behind the scenes this is a list, and we use add messages so that we can add messages, right? We can keep on appending stuff. So that's how it works. You just need to know for the time being that hey, this is how it's going to work. We need to set up the tools, we need to create an assistant node, and let's just focus on message state only. It's a simple list data type, and it's an abstract representation, but we are using it. Why we are using a list? Because list gives us the ability to append stuff, right? So we can easily append stuff and add on messages because we want to have a conversation. Now, guys, the most important step, we are defining a graph. Now all these 3 things are okay. Let's just try to see. So guys, first line is always a builder state graph. I've been talking about this a lot. Let me revisit all these things once so that you can quickly correlate. So guys, always set the state first, then define the nodes, then make sure your edges connect to node. Okay, and compile it. That's pretty much it, guys. We've been doing it in all our lectures, and you need to know this is an important concept. So guys, we have set up the state. So state is essentially the schema for input things. So message state is going to be list, so that's going to be the underlying data type that's Langgraph is going to use. Then we are adding nodes. So what are nodes, guys? Nodes are nothing. We are just adding Python function, and they're going to do work for us. Okay, so tool node tool. So how many tools we have? We have 2 tools, right? If you're going to see this step, uh, okay, let me just open this. So we have 2 tools, right? We have 2 tools, right? And we are just creating those 2 tools and putting it into a list, and then binding our LLM with it. We've been doing it in across lectures, and that's pretty much it. Yeah, and then we need to make sure that our tool nodes are also available. And then, guys, from start to assistant we need to join. Then we need to create a conditional edge that's going to point to assistant. What is assistant? Assistant is the tool node. And then the tool condition. What is the tool condition, guys? Here if you'll see, the tools condition is this in simple terms. So it's not difficult. We are just importing this and we are doing this, right? So tool condition is essentially an abstract representation for the fact that your assistant can like go to tools as well as go to here, because we are adding a conditional edge. So what is a conditional edge? That it's not certain that where it's going to go. It's going to take a call that whether it need to call the tool or end the conversation. And guys, builder.addEdge, so we are connecting tools back to the assistant so that stuff happens in an iterative manner, and it can call multiple tools before it goes to end, right? This is a typical React architecture which we have talked about in in which lecture we have talked about React architecture. In lecture 8 we have talked about it. So yeah, that's pretty much it. And again, just a quick revision guys, we need to start by defining the state. We need to start by getting the nodes. Okay, we have two nodes, assistant node and tool nodes, because we need something that's going to call the tool, right? That's when we need an LLM which is binded to tool, having the execution ability so that it can call the tool. And also guys, tools are just Python functions. You can just call them without any framework as well, like you've been doing in your entire life. And if you want to call tools specifically with Langgraph, guys, the last lecture was about that only, simple tool calling with Langgraph. So that's pretty much also possible. Now guys, you have defined this, that's pretty much good. And you've added an edge, so your start is going to be connected to assistant, and then you have added conditional edges as well. So your assistant is essentially routing to tools condition. And if you just look at the fact that what it is doing, that from start to assistant we've added edge, then we've added a conditional edge that either it's going to go to the assistant or it's going to like go to the end, right? So that's pretty much very important. If you see this snippet of code, then we are adding tools to assistant, so we are adding an edge that's going to connect tools to assistant. Okay, I think this is not very difficult, but yeah, the only things is that you need to define this tool very properly. You need to make sure that your system, your Langgraph recognizes that what set of tools you are using via the tool node, and then you can just wrap everything via the tools condition. So a little abstract, but I think you will be able to get it once you just sit down and do it. Next thing is guys, you just need to run it. And now let's just try to see it. So if you're going to run this thing, what is the status of the ticket with ID 1? So it says status is pending. It just did a lookup in the dictionary and it gave you pending, not something magical. Now let's say any comments on the same. So right now guys, please provide the ticket ID. That's what the model is coming with, but it doesn't have any context, right? Because there's no memory that I have implemented. So you're able to see that we are not able to implement memory, and now we're going to implement memory. And guys, this is very, very simple. Only thing that you need to do in Langgraph is write these 3 lines of code. That's it. You need to just create a check pointer, right? So you need to create a check pointer such that you have an point which points or stores your previous history. Once you've created a check pointer, then you just need to configure a thread, and in everything, right? So in every message that you pass, just give this config. Okay, if you're going to run this, so what is the status of the ID of the ticket 1? It says pending, and now you're able to say that any comments on the same. So you are saying that any comments on the same, the team is working on it. It was able to go to the database, look up, try to solve as in customer support agent. But why it was able to do? Because guys, we are passing this config. How is this config be created? Simple guys, we just need to have a configurable thread. That's how Langgraph is telling us to do. We need to follow their documentation. That's how they want us to do it. It's very important to see, and it is an in-memory data store. So I'll just explain you what we are doing. So guys, what happens in Langgraph is, right, at a little deeper level. So every execution, right, every execution is like, it's sort of transient, right? It doesn't store anything, it just travels. It doesn't store anything. So if you want to store it, right, like you want to include memory in your Langgraph agent, in memory, right, in-house memory. So what you're going to do? Simple guys, not very difficult. Only thing you need to do is, one, you need to set up a config. Okay, once you've set up a config, you just need to reuse this every time. And for config guys, you need to have a thread, right? Because if you are from a CS background, typical, you would understand this, that you need a thread in order to execute a lot of your background tasks, but you don't need to go into depth of that. That's how Langgraph is telling us to do. You need to create a check pointer. That's simple. It's a memory saver. It's an in-house in-memory, not in-house is not the right word, so in-memory database. So it's an in-memory database. You just need to set up a config so that you reuse that thing. So here I'm setting up config, so my config has an access to all that stuff which is happening. In the next question, I'm repassing this config so that again it has access to all the stuff that I'm doing, and it was able to resolve my query. So you're able to see it, guys. It's very like, this feature is relatively simpler. We have talked about other features in all other lectures, but yeah, this is relatively simple. We just need to add, let's say, 3 lines of codes to have an in-memory database, and we just need to configure a thread. That's pretty much it, and then just use that thread every time we are doing any sort of messages. Now guys, the final comments and final ending notes. So guys, what we were able to build out here is a customer support agent, right? In simple terms, so user is going to come, it's going to query. Based on the query, we're going to do a lookup in the database, and based on that we're going to give a response, right? That was pretty much the problem statement, and we have added memory. So guys, adding memory in Langgraph is simple. You just need to use, let's say, their in memory database, which we don't need to get into. It's just that we need to use their memory saver import, and we just need to set up a config, and in every iteration we need to use this config and get our job done. So that was pretty much it, guys. Here you were able to see agents specifically with memory, and these are very rudimentary agents, guys, because you understand, right? If you want to be let's say building a chatbot in real time, you won't be using a lot of in-memory stuff. So all that will also come in this course on how to get into databases and all. But yeah, I think that's pretty much it for today. Just try to keep a note that what use case that I'm solving, customer support agent, guys, this is going to be very important for industry. A lot of people who are not from uh, typical industry would think that this is almost a done, but still, guys, systems today are not 100% capable of doing great customer support. You can check out yourself. Go to a bank, go to a hospital, go to places where India often travels, let's say railway station. You would understand the problem. Still, this thing has customer support agent as in a whole industry. So spend some time in order to figure out useful business cases as well, where you could actually employ an agentic framework. And again, guys, we have been doing Langgraph in order to give you a sense of development. No need to use Langgraph, guys. It's a very high and likely chance that you would be just coding using vanilla Python. So make sure you know that. And on that note, I would like to end. And guys, please subscribe to my YouTube channel, and please follow me on LinkedIn and Instagram. If you have any doubts, need any referrals, need any advice, every time I'm up for it. Thank you and have a great day.